Hey class, we're going to jump right back into our foundation assignment. Our next task is to create the foundation details. So here's our completed foundation plan. We're going to take a look at our final deliverable for these details. We have 3 details. These are the ones that we placed, or these are based upon the sections that we placed in the last assignment. We're also going to add in this typical steel column base plate detail. We're first going to focus here on our typical exterior foundation wall detail. So if we go back to our foundation plan, we place these 3 views, so we have those in these 3 section markers which create these 3 section views in our project browser. So I'm going to go to section 1, which I know to be that first section. Yours may be numbered differently depending upon which ones you drew first. And the first thing that we're going to do is change our scale to 1/2 inch equals a foot, which is our scale for these. I'm going to select this crop box. I'm going to pull this in a little bit tighter. I'm also going to come down to my view control bar and change my detail level to fine, which is going to turn my column from a line and show more detail there. Now, our current drawing is showing that we're cutting through the pier footing, but if you look at this drawing here in the final deliverable, we are not cutting through the pier footing. So to fix that, we have to go back to our foundation plan. We have to physically move the section cut outside of that pier foundation. And now if we go back to our section, you can see that this looks correct now. The next thing that we're going to look at is we need to create this slab, but before we can create the slab, we have to create the ledge that the slab sits on in this wall. So we need to cut a section out of this wall. We are actually going to cut that wall out as well as build the slab and the thickened haunch all in our model. So those items will be 3-dimensional. So to do that, it takes a little bit of work. What we need to do is we need to create something that will cut this wall out. We're going to use something called a wall reveal. To create that reveal, we need to see an elevation of this wall on the side that we're going to create the reveal. So we need to see an elevation of the inside of this foundation wall. So what we're going to do is go back to our foundation plan. We're going to go to the View tab, and we're going to click Elevation. And the elevation is going to set up, well, it's going to set up a new elevation. So we click there. And notice that when you drag this thing around, the closer you get to a wall, it starts pointing to a wall. So I want to look at this north wall because I want to put a reveal in this wall right here. So you can see that that added this this elevation over here, so we can double click on that. And now we are looking at an elevation of the inside of the foundation wall. If I go back to my foundation plan, if I select this triangle of the view, you can see that my elevation originates from this point. So I'm actually cutting through some of these foundations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply move that, drag that view up. You can also see that there's a box to see the extent to which the elevation goes to. Now when I go back here, now I can see the elevation of my wall. So to create a reveal, which essentially removes this section of the wall horizontally, actually you can make vertical ones as well, but ours will be horizontal. We go to Structure, Wall, Reveal. And you can only do these in an elevation, which is why I created this elevational view. And I'm going to place a reveal just anywhere in this wall. You actually have to hit Escape after you've placed it for it to show up. And now if we go back to this section, we can see what we just created. Now this is a default reveal. And you can actually select it. You may have to tab through, hover over the edge, and tab until you highlight just the reveal and then click. And you can see that this is just sort of a default reveal. What we need to do is we are going to edit this type, and we're going to duplicate this, and we're going to call it 6 inch by 10 inch Slab Ledge, because that's the size we need. If we look back at our drawing here, we can see that the haunch in the slab is 10 inches thick, and the slab sits 6 inches in it. This is a 12-inch wall minus 6 inches. We have 6 inches here. So it's a 6 by 10-inch slab ledge, which is what we're going to call this. And the way that this this reveal family works is that you simply load in another family, a profile family, to tell it what shape you're going to extrude along this wall. Right now we're using the default. If you click on that drop down, we have some of these others, but none of these really work. So we have to create our own profile for this. So just hit OK for now. We'll come back to this dialog later. So to create a new profile, we actually have to create a new family. So we're going to go to File. We're going to click the arrow next to New and say Family. We're creating our own custom family. When you create a new family, it asks you, what family template would you like to use? This is going to help us. This is going to give us all the tools that we need to create the type of family that we want. And right now we want a profile reveal. So I'm going to open that. So what we have here is just 2 work planes and some text. This work plane is labeled wall face. So this is the face of our wall, and then over here is where our wall exists to the right. So all I'm going to do is create menu, line, and I'm going to create a rectangle, and I'm going to click the intersection, and I'm going to make a box that is 6 inches by 10 inches, and I'm just dragging out until I can see the dimensions there. And for now, that's all I need. Profiles are simply 2-dimensional shapes that can be extruded in Revit. So what we're going to do is we are going to hit File, Save. We're going to call this Slab Ledge. .rfa. That's the family file. So Slab Ledge, save, and then we're going to load it into our project. Now if you come over to our project browser and you expand the families section and you come down to profiles, you'll now see a Slab Ledge profile. And it only has one type. It only has that 6 by 10 type. We could create new types if we wanted to, but for now we just need this one. Now we're going to go back to our section. We're going to select that reveal, and now we're going to edit type again, only this time we're going to come down here to profile, and you'll see that we now have Slab Ledge, Slab Ledge. Hit OK. So now we have a 6 by 10 profile being extruded along our 6 by 10 slab ledge family. Now we can simply just move this thing up. I'm just dragging it into place. And now we have a ledge, a slab ledge for our slab. Now if we really wanted to leverage our new custom family, we could come in here and we could rename this 6 inches by 10 inches, and that's our type. So the slab ledge is a profile family. The 6 by 10 is a type, and you can see that now in our well, actually it's a subtype. This is the type selector for that that type. So we could create a new type by duplicating this and creating another type. We could create a 4 by 8 type, or all sorts of different sizes that work as slab ledges. For now, what we're going to do is we are going to draw in the slab. Actually, I'm going to go back here to my elevation. The way that these reveals work, let me go to a 3D view, is when you create a reveal on a wall, it creates the reveal the entire length of the wall. And right now, we want this reveal to stop at this pier and this pier. So I'm going to go back to my elevation, and you can only, well, I think you could do these in plan as well. Scratch that. You have to do it in elevation because you don't get the handles to modify this. If you go to the elevation, you see these blue handles. We can pull this to be flush with that pier, and this one we have to pull all the way back to this pier. And that looks like this in the 3D view. It puts that slab ledge right in there. Now I'm only going to create this one slab ledge because my section is cut right here. It's the only place that I really need to do this for my drawings to be correct. Now if I was creating an entire building and documenting the entire building, I would create many more slab edges, but for now this is good enough. So next I'm going to create my slab. So I'm going to go back to my foundation plan. Let me close this sheet. I can also close this elevation. I don't really need it anymore. I could delete it if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave it for now. I can close this family that I created. I'm just going to clean up some of my views. So now I need to create my slab. So that's the Structure tab, Foundation Panel, Slab. I'm going to check my type, and I only have a 6-inch foundation slab. Mine is 5-inch, so I have to edit type, rename, and I'm renaming because I haven't used any slabs yet, so it's okay to rename the 6-inch type. Now here we have to go into the Structure, Edit, and here in the Structure we're going to change this to 5 inches. OK. Hit OK again, and now I'm going to create a 5-inch foundation slab. So to do that, I come up to my Draw Tools. I'm actually going to click the Line tool, and I'm simply going to trace in here the far edge of that reveal, inside of that reveal, and then I'm going to simply draw this slab around the perimeter of my foundation wall and my piers. Once I have that perimeter drawn in, I'm also going to come in, I'm going to use the rectangle tool, and I'm going to trace around my isolated footings because these are at the same level as my slab. So I need to basically remove the area of my slab that is in the same area as these. Hit the green checkmark button. When you get this dialog, pretty much any time you ever get this dialog, it's a good idea to say no. If Revit asks you to do something automatically and you do not understand or are not aware of the implications of it doing something automatically, simply say no. We can always do what it's telling us it's doing automatically later on our own. So now we can go back to our section, and here's our slab. We can also look at this in 3D view, and you can see that our slab is here. Here's our piers, or our footings. And again, here's our section. So here's our slab coming into that reveal. The next step will be adding this haunch to our slab.